Hey, it's Dom, finishing up this Drivetrain series. I'm gonna get it all back together and walk you through it. Going ahead, putting the front strut bolts in, and then move on to the next step. Going ahead and putting the rear drive shaft back onto the transfer case here, and then tightening it down. What I'm doing here is putting the transmission cross member in. This is what actually holds the transmission and transfer case into the vehicle. Going ahead, plugging in the harness to the transfer case. Now that everything's back up in the vehicle, I can get all my wires secured and put into the sensors. What I'm doing here is I'm going around with my impact, tightening down the strut bolts, and then moving on to my next step. What I'm doing here is actually my power steering lines and the brake lines are all ran through the front, and I'm just securing them through the cross member now. What I'm doing here is hooking up my transmission cooler lines to the radiator. So everything that I took off in the beginning, I have to just re-secure to the front of the vehicle for the cooling system. What I'm doing here is actually securing my harness back to the engine. Everything that I had up in the body is going back onto the engine now, but got some interruptions from my advisor going on. What I'm doing here is getting my upper radiator hose back on. Gotta lean with it. You know what I'm saying? Gotta lean with it. What I'm doing here is actually hooking up my AC lines so then I can refill the system. Going ahead and get a new oil filter in the system so when I fill it up with oil, it's got a fresh oil change in it. Going ahead and put my air box back on. These are actually the final steps to the vehicle. Going ahead and pumping my oil out of the tank. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it over to the engine. What I'm doing here is vacuuming the cooling system, getting all the air pockets out of the vehicle, so then when I go to fill the cooling system, it has no air pockets. Now that I have all the fluids filled in the vehicle, I can go ahead and hook up my battery and get this thing running. Side note, on a Grand Cherokee and Durango, the battery is located underneath the passenger seat. Here's the first start of the vehicle. Hopefully it's all right. Good news is the vehicle started and is running smoothly. Now I'm topping off the power steering fluid.
I got the AC machine hooked up. Gonna go ahead and do a recharge on it. Recovery, it will suck out the Freon and then it's gonna put it back in, make sure that there's no leaks going on. We had to take the AC Freon out of it earlier in order to get the motor and transmission out of the vehicle, so now we just gotta refill it and should be good to go. Gonna go ahead and clean off any oil residue, anything in the engine bay down in here, and then put all the belly trays back on and get it over on the alignment rack to make sure that the vehicle drives straight down the road, and this one will be out the door here soon.
Went ahead, got the vehicle on the alignment rack, straightened out the steering wheel, test drove the vehicle, everything went really well. Got the customer back in it, and they're very satisfied with the repairs. Thanks for tuning in to Rydell of Independence. My name's Dom, and I'll see you next time.